And this is Ms. Crystal Mueller regarding Denton Basic Service Center. So if you could give us your name and address, and then you'll have 4 minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
My name is Crystal Mueller. I live at 2005 Stockbridge Road in Denton. I'm a board member for Denton Basic Services Center. And the video I'm about to show is from a group in Washington who we want to pattern our village after. If you could play the video, please.
Okay.
This is it. Yes.
Okay, great. So
hey, this is Doug from HomesNOW, not later. I'm down here at Unity Village in Bellingham, Washington. HomesNOW manages 2 tiny home communities in Bellingham, Washington. This video is being done for the Denton Basic Service Center. They are a nonprofit out of Denton, Texas. They asked me to do a virtual tour of our villages. They believe in the same thing as we do with a resident-managed approach, self-sufficiency. And so, without further ado, I'll just get into it. So as we can see, we have the front gate here. When a person first enters the village, we have them sign in and sign out. Typically, we have somebody who sits at the front desk to help when people come in with donations of food or supplies or anything like that. We have our shower truck, which we built ourselves, and we set it up to be like a normal shower on the inside. Go down the hallway here. As you can see, it looks just like a normal shower. Then we have our common area where people can eat and socialize. These tiny homes we built ourselves. It was our own design. They are 8 by 10 on the inside, but with a porch. For new residents, we try to get them a basic bedspread, some basic furnishings, so that they can have a nice start when they get in. Our villages are resident managed, meaning the people that live at the village run the village. So at HomesNOW, nobody we have no paid staff. Nobody gets paid a dime with HomesNOW. Hand washing stations, garbages. We have lights up above because it gets dark at night, so it kind of provides a festive atmosphere at night to have almost like Christmas lights. Unity Village has been here for around 2 years. It is on city-owned land. HomesNOW also does not take government money, so we're on government land, but we don't take government money. When the city has donated building supplies or anything like that, we use those supplies and build. So many people come to the front gate and donate. They're so generous here that we end up with a lot of donations. And so any extra donations we have goes to outreach or other people that need it on the streets. We have shared areas over here for cooking, like the grills, and we have a kitchen area that is the same thing as one of these tents. We have multiple fridges. Hey, what's up, guys? And yeah, that's about it. It's pretty simple. And we're proud of what we've built here, and we hope that the city of Denton will allow the Denton Basic Service Center to use our model, expand on it, and help more people get off the streets.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're able to fill this in, but I'm just naturally curious about how does Unity Village deal with extreme temperatures, hot and cold?
So this is in Washington. So it would be a little bit different. Their extreme temperatures would be needing heat in the winter versus we're going to need a lot more AC. But we have ideas on how to cool. We can make ACs out of coolers for very inexpensive. And we will have an electrician that'll help us, to configure everything. I think that the extreme temperature as far as the winter goes, I'm not sure that we have addressed that yet. So one of the other ladies may be able to better address that.
Whether there's a process for moving through or would you have in mind something different than what what they happen to have done?
So our idea is to give them the time that they need, because there's not one individual that is unhoused that is like the next individual that is unhoused, just like the housed individuals. We all have a different timeline of healing and getting a job and moving into permanent housing. And so that is going to be a case-by-case basis. Based on whatever their needs are. So there will not be a strict, you have to be out of here in a certain amount of time, or you have to have this done by a certain amount of time. It will be case-by-case basis.
Thanks.
How large was this village?
It's small. It takes up a parking lot. I'm not sure of the
About a half an acre
dimensions.
or so. You all know.
They run 2 villages.
Okay.
When she comes up, she'll answer. It's
Okay,
all right.
okay.
Yeah.
Don't
Ask
say
her that, because I'm not sure of the dimensions.
okay.
I just know it is a very small plot of land. It
Okay.
was on a parking lot,
Okay.
so I'm not sure of the exact dimensions. I'm sorry.
Well,
Any other questions? Councilor Armature?
Yes, I noticed that they mentioned that it's city land, but they don't use city money. They use donations of supplies from the city and from people within the city. Mm-hmm. Is that the same model that you plan to follow?
Correct.
And I believe there's a certain one or more plots of city land that y'all are interested in. I'm not sure if one of you has planned on talking about that later, so I don't want to. I don't want to steal your thunder. You don't have to answer that if she's going to talk to it, but okay. I'd be eager to hear.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
So next is item D, ID 211506, Deborah Wright, regarding Denton Basic Service Center.
Hi, good evening.
Hi. If you could give us your name and address, and then you'll have 4 minutes.
I'm Deborah Wright. I live at 2512 Crestwood Place in Denton. And I'm sorry.
Yes, by all means.
Okay.
Yeah.
My mind just clicked off on me. When we speak to our unhoused neighbors about the village, they're excited about the possibilities it will offer them. You see, they are rarely asked to bring their own ideas to the table. This village gives them that option. It gives them an opportunity to bring their input to your table. We hope that this following video helps to dispel any myths or stereotypes you may have about our unhoused neighbors, your neighbors. Play the video.
Hi, what's your name?
My name is Shay.
Yeah, and how long have you been on the street?
About 2 years.
And what do you think of the tiny house village concept?
I think the concept is great. I hope that it works out. I really wish that you could make this into fruition, like not just be a concept. And it sounds like a great thing to me.
Hi, what's your name?
Jacob Norris.
And how long have you been on the street?
9 months.
Oh, wow. And what do you think of a tiny house village?
This is what we want. We want to be able to build something for the community, do something for the homeless people, and able to be there and have stuff for the community.
Great. Thank you.
My name is Joseph Reed. I'm 65 years old. I've been homeless approximately 10 years. Jan approached me today with the idea of the tiny village, and I became immediately impressed with it. I have multiple skills that I told her that I like to use to help in the construction and the operation of it. I think it's a very good idea, and I would like to see the city and whoever else get on board with helping making this project for real. Is that good enough?
Hi, what's your name?
I'm Tony Parker. Tony Parker.
Okay, and how long have you been on the street?
I've been on the streets almost 2 months now.
Okay. What do you think of the tiny house village concept?
I think that's a great idea, and I think it'll really work because We, the ones that's out here in the streets, and we kind of, our tents and stuff are structured kind of like how you're planning to do the tiny home village. And I think that that's a great idea, and it would work because we'll become more like a community, banding together to help each other, achieve our goals.
Hi, what's your name?
My name is Greg Eisworth.
Yes, and how long have you been on the streets?
1.5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. And what do you think of the tiny house village?
Well, I've been speaking to her, and I believe it's a great idea. I believe it's a fresh start for the community. I believe it's going to do some good, and I believe it's a starting point for the people that are in need, that people understand that the homeless people community have had something happen to them in their life, and they need to progress, and this is a great start, is what I believe. And my name is Greg Eisworth.
Okay, you have 30 seconds.
Basically, we're just wanting to bring our unhoused neighbors together as a community and give them a chance to heal and a chance for them to get off the streets. Thank you.
Okay, any questions? Seeing none? Thank you very much. Okay, that takes us to item E, ID 211512, Miss Pam Gutierrez, regarding Tiny House Village.
Hi, I'm Pam Gutierrez.
And you can adjust it however you... Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you so much. I'm Pam Gutierrez, and I live at 10786 FM 2153 in Sanger, Texas, 76266. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about the tiny village and tell you my thoughts on the tiny village. So the unhoused band together to achieve goals, to become a community and be responsible individuals in our community. This would give them and us the opportunity to see what they can do. You see people living out in open areas. You see them on the square, and people complain about that to you all the time because they don't have anywhere to go. They don't have a house like us. At any point in time, that could be me. That could be any of you all at any point in time. And if you didn't have a home, what would you do? You wouldn't be able to bathe. You wouldn't have a job. So, I think this would give these folks the opportunity. They want to work. They want to have a home. They want to have a place to be. And they need your support. They need my support. The tiny village is something that the unhoused desperately want and they desperately need. In Bellingham, Washington, 2 tiny house villages have been successful, one for 2 years and another for 1 year. The village in Washington has assisted in providing additional information to Denton to prepare for operating a village here in our city. The goal is to start with 25 tiny homes on the first piece of property and then continue with additional 115 tiny homes on the additional 9 acres with your support. And we would rent that property back from you. The land is a catalyst to achieve the village, and I believe that the Denton community will rally behind the initiative and assist our homeless in becoming this community that the homeless desperately need. This will give our homeless community hope. They will recover. They will have the respect and the safety that they need. They're unsafe out in our community. And if you were unsafe, you would feel horrible. You would have no dignity. You would have no respect. Please know that these people are just like you and me. If you fell on hard times, you would hope that our city and others would provide support to create this tiny village. People have their own privacy here. They can be clean. They can take care of their own items. They can have dignity and they can have pride, just like we have every day. By creating the tiny village, the city council, all of you, and mayor, you would be providing an opportunity for the homeless community to relearn skills that many have lost along the way or didn't have mentors to teach to them. Being part of the community provides ownership and pride in the village. I believe in this concept. I will be there to help them. I'll be on the advisory committee. I'll do everything I can. Anyone that knows me in this community, I've worked at MHMR for 35 years. My heart is there. My heart will be here for these people. And I'll do everything I can to give them a second chance to regain their lives. I hope that this village is an initiative that the council and mayor will be behind and will embrace and provide funding to this tiny village. Thank you very much for allowing me this opportunity to speak.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Councilman Armature.
Yeah, so I know you're speaking for yourself as an individual resident and not representing MHMR.
No, I'm not.
But you have a background of being in the mental health profession, and I know that you're looking at this from all angles, not just through that lens. But I was wondering if you could just speak briefly, to how the mental health needs and other health needs of people experiencing homelessness, could be better served in a tiny village scenario like this versus camping behind, sleeping behind a Walmart or in your car.
So,
if you could speak to that.
We partner with the police chief to go out into the tent cities to help our community with the people that we serve, because the majority of them are homeless. And so this will enable us to provide services to these individuals and to come into the village and to offer our services and not have to go into tents where many times it's unsafe. We can't go into these tent cities without the police. I can't send my staff without armed police officers because we don't know what we're going to find. It's not a safe environment. This is something, again, that people will have dignity and respect. And I have to make sure that my staff are safe too. I can send them into this village because people will now be safe and they'll be in an environment that's not something that they're out in the woods and they're unfortunately with other individuals that will harm them and us. So by creating this environment, I have provided a secure, safe environment for not only the individuals that need it the most, but for my staff too. And then they're going to want services more because they're happy, they're healthy, and they're secure. And they have self-esteem again.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Councilman Beck.
Thank you. So, based on that, you're saying that we might experience significant cost savings with regards to police calls if we had this in a more contained and organized fashion.
Exactly. I could see costs exponentially going down because your crime rate's going to go down.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any other question? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for allowing me to speak.
Okay. We have item F, which is ID 211390, Jane Piper Lunt, regarding Denton Basic Service Center, Tiny House Village. If you'll give your name and address, 4 minutes to speak.
Hi, I'm Jane Piper Lunt. I live at 1205 North Austin, and I'm executive director of Denton Basic Service Center. And for those of you that may not know, she is the executive director of MHMR. To make this quick, I'm going to take this in increments. Let's talk about the films. I hope the interviews tore apart any preconceived ideas and stereotypes you have. When I talk to the unhoused, so many tell me that they want to talk to you, so please go out there and meet them. I had people ask to be interviewed for this. When I tell them about the village, every single one of them want it. They get very excited about it. They want to use their skills and talents to create a community that will help each other. They want this. If you rewatch that film, you will see Shay holding back his emotions because he desperately wants this. He is excited about it, but they fear to hope, And, I could see him holding that back. Homes Now, Not Later. Doug has been invaluable to us, preparing us to make this happen. One of his villages was built with COVID money. The other, and has no operating fees. The other is run for $12,000 a year. 48 homes for $12,000 a year. Denton Basic Service Center has sought to legitimize ourselves over the last 3 years. We have an informative Facebook page. During the ice storm, we were 2 days ahead of everyone else. We collected food, water, coats, tents, blankets, over 100 towels. We gave rides, heaters, winter clothes, hand and foot warmers. Every single board member either worked at the water warehouse and or the auditorium. We provided a COVID clinic for our unhoused. We donate to Monsignor King, our daily bread. We furnished apartments for Giving Hope. And obviously, we have the support of MHMR. I just gave 500 gallons worth of Gatorade powder to Monsignor, our daily bread yesterday. We've helped individuals with food, med, transportation, shopping, and got a couple of bus batteries for somebody yesterday. We fill the tiny pantries, and we're working to get a community fridge. All of this has been done with private donations. We advocate for policies that don't harm our unhoused. We do ask a budget allocation. She was not aware of that. We've been to you over 4 years, a 4-year period, and it's time to do it now. The price of wood has skyrocketed. This budget allocation will get us up and running quickly. You're willing to pay $150,000 for a pocket park and $11.5 for a shelter. So what we're asking is a drop in the bucket to what you guys usually spend. Lastly, city fees are killing nonprofits trying to build affordable housing. Grace Light Grain has hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of fees. Another nonprofit told me that fees have priced them out so that they can't build. Nonprofits should not have to pay fees to build low-income housing. Questions?
Okay. Councilman Byrd, you had a question earlier. I forget what it was, but...
Yeah. By the way, it's great to come to a friendly council.
Yes. I almost forgot what my question was. But you all have identified an area here in town that you'd like to put your tiny home. Where is that located for the people?
It is at the end of Rudell by the old service center. There's 2 pieces of property. One had a house on it, and that's where we would like to start with a pilot program of 35 homes. And then once that's up and going, move across the street. You have about 9 acres across the street, and we would like to build up to 150 homes.
I'm thinking about the utilities and, the water and, that's needed. Is that going to be something that will need to be supported by the city in any kind of way, or is that?
If you want to, we'll let you. But we're willing to pay bills. The small plot had a house on it, so there's plumbing and sewer and lines and things like that there. Now we may have to replace them. Joseph, that you saw, is an electrician. He sat down and told me how we can totally plan this out. Greg is a contractor. These people want to do this work. They want to make this happen, and we'll make it work.
Okay.
What types of homes are you all looking at to put on there? Something like what we saw on the video?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Councilman Armature.
Thanks for all that you all have done. in full disclosure, before I was on council, I was working with you, with this vision, and at that time, this was just an idea, and I know it is still not realized, and that's extremely frustrating. But as you've shown, you all are doing so much. So I think one of the objections at the time I remember from council was that, who are these people? What have they done? Well, you have a track record now of doing real work. So I want to applaud you for that work. I was just wondering, kind of remembering the objections back in the from back in the day, and anticipating that they might come up again. What your responses are to some of them. You don't have to list them all, but just to get us thinking. For instance, and I'll name a couple. The objection. Well, I don't want people living in little shacks, with a chain link fence around it. I want people in homes that are more home type homes. And or the objection. Well, for instance, we have the following shelters, right? We already have this. Have the answers to that changed? What's your response to that?
Well, first off, rent's ridiculous in this town. Price of housing's ridiculous. There are people I've known that have waited 3 years to get a voucher, and they have to be somewhere. What were the other things?
Yeah. If you could, and that's the thing. If you could ask succinct questions that she could answer, that'd be great.
It was just a broad question, and you answered it. I was just wondering, what has changed.
I think you used to call it a waiting room. It's a waiting room until, but it's more than that. It is we want to help them get out of survival mode, okay? There's a certain type of thinking that you get when you're on the street, and, you have no goals. You don't think beyond, where's dinner tonight? And that transition is very difficult to do when you just take somebody off the street and put them in an apartment on their own with no support system. And there's time limits and expectations, and that kind of pressure is not fair to put on somebody who's been through what a lot of these people have been through. So they need a place that's their own, where they can relax, where they can recover, where they can rebuild, and be treated like adults, because that's one of the big problems. We don't treat them like adults, and we trust them to be able to run this village. We trust them to make decisions.
All right. Okay. Councilman Beck.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Piperlund, I'll ask you the same question that I asked Ms. Gutierrez, and that is sort of humanitarian considerations aside, what do we think the cost savings to dealing with completely unhoused individuals in the woods are versus having them even just 35 people in a pilot program? What do you think? You have an estimate of what those cost savings might be to the city?
Well, we seem to have an increase of criminal trespasses lately, and so they get fined. They can't pay that. They don't go to court because they can't get there, so they wind up getting arrested. And so you've got the court costs, you've got all of that, you've got the jail time. In another video of Square One Villages, they amortized their price, and it costs $5 a night for them to house these people. And if you're looking at vouchers, you can't rent a place or give a voucher to somebody for $5 a night. And these guys, they pay one of those dollars. The residents pay one of those dollars. So it's really only $4 to the organization. But things like Pete, he got sick, and got criminally trespassed because he sat down in the shade of the Civic Center and wound up extremely sick. And, also got hit recently on his bicycle, so he had to get that taken care of. So, you have medical costs that they can't afford to pay, and that comes back to the taxpayers. And I'm trying to think what else.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other? Councilman Roberter.
Just real quick, I don't know if you know this, but just wanted to quick shout out to Chief Dixon, who found out about that criminal trespass and looked into it and got it removed because he agreed it was unwarranted. I just wanted to mention. I don't know if you heard that.
Okay. I just don't want to put Mayor Pro Tem Meltzer.
Hey, Jane. You alluded to use the figure an $11 million shelter. When all said and done, that might not be.
What's that?
That you alluded to the shelter, and you used the figure $11 million, and when all said and done, I don't know that that's far off. But can you help the public and us understand who this concept serves that's different than the people who would be going into the shelter that's going to be constructed between fall of 2021 and fall of 2022, where it's Monsignor King, former Monsignor King, plus Our Daily Bread, kind of together with the day shelter, with mental health practitioners, and let me just say a little more before I let you answer. I became more acutely aware during the snowstorm when we had off-duty cops going around offering rides to people who were freezing. To take them to shelter, where there were shelter beds that were going unfilled, and they were largely told, "No thanks, I'm good." So, I think it might not be obvious to people that there are a segment of the unhoused that are just not going to go to shelters. So, but maybe you can help us understand what's this. Who's going to be served by one versus the other?
Well, okay, if you consider that Monsignor King has 58 beds right now because of COVID, and they just hit capacity for the first time last month. There are a lot of people who do not like shelters. I mean, I heard a woman say, "I don't want to take a shower with 35 people." I don't want to have to leave at 8 o'clock in the morning. Carry my stuff, and it's still survival mode. Because they don't have a place, that's their own. I think the vast majority of the homeless would be thrilled to death to live in a tiny house village because they have privacy, they have community if they want it. We do hope to put a section in for MHMR that will get those people help. But, we invited all kinds of homeless people to this. And they wanted to come, and they're outside because they're intimidated by these kinds of situations. And yet they'll talk to us, they'll hang with us, and they probably would hang with each of you individually. But they've been so separated from society for so long that it's going to take some work to get them back in there. And but I think the vast majority of them would love to live in a tiny house village.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.